Dear students, in previous video, we have learned that sound needs a medium for propagation. Sound needs a medium for propagation. Propagation means sound, how the sound is travel. For that purpose, we have performed an activity in which we have find out that we have taken a glass tumbler or a metal tumbler and we kept a mobile phone in it like it has shown into the picture. That is the picture in which a mobile phone kept into a glass tumbler. After that, what we are going to do is we just take that tumbler near to our mouth and holding our fingers on it. After that, what we are going to do is we are just call our friend that he just give a ring on it. When the mobile phone on a ringing mode, then we can easily hear the sound. But as soon as we are taking that glass tumbler near to our mouth and holding with our hand as it's shown in figure 2, after that what we are going to do, we are just try to suck out the air which is present into the glass tumbler, and again we will say to our friend that he just give a ring on the mobile phone. So when we are just sucking out the air from the glass tumbler, then we just observe that the sound which is produced previously, that means before sucking the air, the sound is different, and after sucking the air, sound is different. It means that the intensity of sound before sucking the air is more as compared to the sound of intensity which is we hear after sucking out the air. That means as we are just reducing the amount of air into the glass tumbler, then we are hear a feeble sound. It means that we are hearing a low intensity sound of the mobile phone. So what this activity indicates to us, that activity indicate to us, or we can say that we can make a conclusion from that activity that sound needs a medium to travel. That sound needs a medium to travel. And what is the medium here is? The answer is the medium here is air. So we can say that whenever sound is propagated or travel from one place to another, it requires a medium, and the very universal medium which is available in our surrounding, that is known to be the air. So that's why there is an explanation is also given to us that as we are decreasing the amount of air in the tumbler, then it is also decreasing the loudness of the ring. If we are able to suck out all the air in the tumbler, then we will not listen any sound. Actually, why it is there that we are not able to hear the sound? The answer is the sound needs a medium to travel, that we have already concluded from that activity. When air has been removed completely from the vessel, it is said that there is a vacuum in the vessel. So what is the definition of vacuum? When there is no air is present in particular region, or in that case what we are saying that when we are completely remove the air from the vessel or a glass tumbler, then that means that glass tumbler is said that it is in that there is a vacuum in the glass tumbler. So that's why the sound cannot travel through the vacuum. So we can conclude from this activity that sound needs a medium for a propagation, or sound needs a medium to travel from one place to another. And second thing is when sound cannot be travel into vacuum. That means if there is any kind of vacuum is there, that means in another word we can also say that if there is a air free zone, then it is said to be a vacuum, and in vacuum the sound cannot be travel. So that is a first medium which is called the universal medium, and that universal medium is nothing but it is a air, or it called the gases, and that is the third state of matter. Now we will find out that sound can travel in other mediums also, like it can travel in liquid or solids also. For that answer, we will discuss some activities, and after that we will come to know that the sound can travel from liquid or solids. So the question is arises, does sound travel in liquid? For that purpose, we will find out the answer. Now, as we are going through and find out does the sound travel in a liquid, for that purpose we are performing an activity, and in your book that activity is activity 13.8. In that activity, what we required? We required the simple we are required simple material, like we are required a tub, a bathtub or a bucket. In it we are required the water. We required a ball is also there. Okay, what we are required? We are required ball, water and bathtub. So how we perform that activity? Basically, we have to take a bathtub or a bucket. After that, what we are going to do? We are just fill that water into the bathtub as it is indicating according to that picture. After that, what we are going to do? How we are going to do? We just take the ball and put it inside the water like it is shown into the picture. Here you can see that we are just putting that ball inside the water, and after that what we are going to do is we are just try to shake that ball. That means we are just try to shake that ball, and when we are shaking the ball, that means it got vibrated. That means we are doing some kind of effort inside the water, and due to that it produced the sound. Now what is the next step we are going to do in that activity? When we are shaking the bell, we are just put our ear on the surface of the water, like that boy is just try to put its ear on the surface of the water, and now we are try to hear the sound. Now what we are going to do is we are try to hear the sound. One of the caution when we are performing that activity is that the ball should not be touched with any wall of the bathtub or the bucket. That is the caution we had to be take care when we are performing that activity. So now what we are going to do is we are taking the ball and putting into inside the water, and after that according to the picture we are just shaking the ball. As we are shaking the ball, then it is vibrated and it is produced the sound. Now carefully we try to hear the sound at the surface of the water. So the question has given to us, can you hear the sound of the bell? Does it indicate that sound can travel through the liquid? So the answer of this question is yes, we can hear the sound at the surface of the water. And so what it suggests to us, that sound can travel through the liquid also. Here the liquid we are taking as water, that is the another medium in which the sound can travel. So we can say that sound not only is travel into the air, but sound can also be traveled into the liquid. So from that activity what we just conclude that the sound can propagate in liquids also. From that activity, the one in that box also information has given to us that in the similar manner, that is how the whales and dolphins might be communicate under the water. That means in that way the whales and the dolphins are communicate each other. That is indicating that how the whales and dolphins are communicating, because they are also producing the sound, and the sound which is produced by them, that is called the ultrasound. And with the help of ultrasound it is also a range of sound, and that is also here by the dolphins and whales. In that way underneath the water the whales and dolphins are communicating to each other. So from that activity, we come to know that sound travel through the liquids. Now, in the next point, we had to find out that sound can travel through the solids also. That means that is the another state of matter. We have already learned about that the sound can travel through air or gas, and sound can travel through the or liquid. Now we will find out that the sound can also travel through the solids or not. For that purpose, we will perform another activity, and the activity number 13.9. What we are going to do in that activity, what are the material we required in that activity? Simply we just required a long metal scale or a long metal rod like it's shown into the figure. What we are required to perform that activity, we are just required a metal strip, a long metal strip, or a meter scale. We are just required in that activity. And how we are going to perform that activity? We just, as you can see, that two boys are standing and facing to each other, and in between them they are holding the metal strip, like they are holding that boy holding a metal strip, and another boy is also holding the other end of the metal strip. Now what we are going to do in that activity, first boy, like in that picture you have seen, the first boy holding a one end of the metal strip near its ear. You can see that here you can find out it is holding a one end of the metal strip near to the ears, and second boy holding the other end of the metal strip in its hand. Okay, that is the situation that we are just taking the metal strip. Now what we are going to do in that activity, we will say the other boy, that means the boy which is holding the end in its hands, we will ask him that he just scratch the end of that scale. That means that scale, that means that boy which shows in that picture, that means the first boy is holding metal strip into near the ear, and second boy, we ask the second boy that he scratch the metal strip on his hand. That means here we are scratching the metal strip, and we ask that boy that it can hear the scratching sound or not. So the answer is when that boy, that means the second boy is scratching the metal strip, then that scratching sound is heard by that first boy which is shown into the picture. So from that we can say that we can perform that activity, and after concluding, when we are gently just scratch or tap at the other end of the scale, then the first boy can easily hear the sound of scratching or tapping. So from that activity, what we conclude, that we can conclude that the sound can also travel through the solids. Sound can propagate through the solids also. So from that activity we can say that from that activity we can say that the sound can travel through the solids also. That similar kind of thing we can also perform, that similar kind of activity we can also perform on a table also, like it has shown to us, like the figure 13.13. that means that is the figure in which we have shown. That activity can also be performed in that we have just taken, we in that activity what we are going to do is we are just placing our ear at one end of a long wooden or metallic table, and asking our friend on the other end that it gently scratch, like that boy is just placing its ear on the table, and the second boy is trying to tapping or scratch the wooden table, and as it is scratching or the tapping the wooden table, then that boy can easily hear the sound. That means when we are just scratching that when we are scratching at from that end, then the sound can travel and it can easily hear the sound by that boy. So from that activity also we just try to conclude that the sound can travel through the solids also. So we find that sound can travel through wood or metal. In fact, sound can travel through any solids. We can perform an interesting activity show that the sound can travel through the string also. For that purpose, we are just try to make a toy telephone. There you can see in that picture, there is a toy telephone. How we can make a toy telephone? We just take a thread and we are required the two paper cups. We are just piercing the two paper cups and we are just attach this two paper cup with the string like it has shown to us into the picture. So that is a toy telephone. And as we are just ask our friend that he can say something from his, and then we can easily hear the sound which he said to us. That means whatever he speak, we can easily hear it at the other end of that paper cup. So we can say that sound can also travel through the strings also. So now we have learned so far that the vibrating objects produce sounds and it is carried in all directions in a medium. Here the medium means it could be a gas, liquid or a solid. So this is the way by which we have learned that first that vibrating object produce the sound. Second is it is carried in all direction in medium. Medium means either it is a solid, liquid or gas. In all cases, the sound can travel. We have already discussed about all the three activities in which we can easily say that the sound can travel through solid, liquid or gas. And the very important thing to be noted here is that sound cannot travel without the medium. It means that if there is a vacuum, so we cannot hear the sound. For propagation of sound, we require the medium, and especially when we are communicating to each other, then we are communicating because there is a presence of air around us. If air is not present, then it is very difficult for us that we are just communicate to each other. So again, we are just summarize what we have learned in this in this manner. What is that? Propagation of sound. Sound requires a medium to propagate. Sound travels through solid, liquid and gases. Sound does not travel in vacuum. So what we summarize again, that sound requires a medium to propagate. Sound travel through solid, liquids and gases. Sound does not travel in vacuum. Sound example, sound travel through the solid thread of a can telephone. Can telephone means toy telephone, as we have seen in that picture also, like this is the toy telephone, and in that picture it shows by the first picture, that is called the can telephone or toy telephone. A whale listen to the reflected sound, that is called echo, in water to locate its prey. That means when the whale is trying to catch a prey, then it use that procedure. And how the whale is able to listen it, that can be able to listen it because sound travel through the liquid. That is the picture which shows that the due to the echo, the reflection of the sound, the whale can easily hear the sound and it can easily catch the prey. And third is we are able to listen to the sound because sound traveled in air, a mixture of gases. So from that we can conclude that here in the third picture it shows to us how we are able to communicate. We are able to communicate to each other because there is a presence of air is there. So from that we have learned that sound requires a medium to propagate. Sound travel through the solid, liquid and gases, and sound does not travel into a vacuum. And we are not able to communicate to each other if there is no presence of air is there, which we call the mixture of gases. I hope you understand. Thank you very much.